Stand by for the opening night of the National Television Service.
All right, so I think so. We ruled it down to Nolan, Marco, or Paul. I think I can pretty confidently rule Paul out, simply because also everyone mute your phones. Paul, so you have to think Poocrafter is like borderline nocturnal. I don't think Paul is borderline nocturnal.
I would agree with that.
So I think we can knock it down to either Nolan or Marco
based
off
Tyler.
of that. Or Tyler.
We still haven't gotten the guest back.
Also someone else. Also, anyway. But
I thought, okay, so here's the thing that I thought.
My point being, I don't think
Ultimate
it's him.
curveball, and I think it's unlikely, but it could be Isan. I mean, I don't think it is. It's not Isan based off of the evidence that we have right now. So that was kind of one.
If it's Isan, he I wouldn't say lied to me.
Because I was just thinking about the time when I was like, oh, like when he came over to film that the pumpkin video, and I was like, oh, you keep up with our videos? He's like, yeah, from time to time. And then he kind of smiled, and I was like, that's the type of smug thing that Isan would say if he was Poocrafter. So that's what made me think of it.
I don't think he would make a YouTube account called Poocrafter.
I don't think he would either.
Like what, 2012? How old is the account? It's really old.
It feels like he would pick something else, like that was too generic for Isan's sensibilities at the time. Whenever he would have made it, like he would have thought to not make, like it would have been something he drew himself and some weird, I don't know, it's some combination of words only he could think of.
Would have been that
character. Would have been the sun. Yeah. Will you put up a picture of the sun? Is that too much work right off the bat?
I don't know if I have one.
We have the cards, but that's not a very high resolution image.
It's fine.
I'm sure he sent us one in the past. I'm sure you could find a sun
on my old
PNG.
Facebook account. I'm sure I could find it too. It's fine.
Right. Yeah. Maybe I could, if you text me and remind me to look through, I could probably find a sun from like 8th grade.
You seem really passionate about adding the sun to the
I guess I kind of, you didn't say no authoritatively enough.
I've been trying not to. I try not. I've been trying not to do that. I instead.
No, man, I'm like a dog. You gotta be like, no. Stay. Otherwise, I'll get too excited. I'll get confused if you just kind of sort of let me, you know?
No, you called me out on being too harsh with shutting ideas down. So instead of doing that, I try to bring up the cons. That's what I try to do. I try to bring up the cons and let you come to your own conclusion.
Encourage others to think about their own ideas for once and their own accomplishability.
Or like when you were sending me those TikToks, I wouldn't say, "Oh, that's not funny." I'd be like, "Julian, I think you could write a better line than that."
Yeah, no,
which is a better way of putting it, right?
Well, no, genuinely, that's honestly, man, that's why I send things to you. Is because like I think that's an invaluable resource, and I was touching that in a bit on the podcast. But it's like I could go up to all my coworkers or even Lily, who I love, who will give me an honest opinion, but it's always going to have too positive of a spin on it. I can't, like, when I message you for an opinion, I could just know I'm getting like an unfiltered opinion from the comment section in advance.
As long as I'm not in a bad mood. I can be a moody bitch, but like, this is trash.
It's more like if you're not in a mood, you'll point out the right ways that it's trash, and if you are in a mood, you'll think of new ways that it's trash in addition.
That's a fun
but
way
either way, you will be right about some of the flaws.
Oh boy. Do you? We haven't. I mean, I talked to you about it beforehand, so kind of ruined it. But we have a sign. That's cool.
Yeah, thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon,
for this sign.
It's a neon sign that's way too bright to use on camera. It just fucking blinds you guys. You know, here, fuck it. No,
it'll be like a flashbang.
No, it's fine. Actually, I kind of want to see what it looks like on the mobile camera. Yeah, it's also vaguely dirty. Like you can't. Well, fortunately, it's one of those things. Like I have a little blemish on my face. 480p, baby. It's not really. It's supposed to be 1080, but like you can't see shit. Oh, you can. Really cool. That is our wide shot. Son of a bitch.
Also, it's not. That's the whole podcast now. We're just zooming on that.
Oh, you know what?
This is so out of focus. So meta, right?
This is the show. Oh, Megan, do the tiny one. Do the.
That actually looks, Zach, that looks
looks
so much
better.
less bright. Did you get the dimmer to work out? No, it looks the same. It looks much better in the mobile cam.
When I zoom in on it, it looks
When you zoom in on it, it looks good. It's when you
'cause the
zoom out,
mobile
it
cam
darkens
is probably-
everything else.
You think it's better? Well, when she starts off the focus on that, what's it called? The light intake on the camera. What's that called?
Aperture.
Aperture. Like when she starts out on it, the aperture goes way up,
Down.
There you go,
down.
guys.
The aperture goes way down. That's my boy.
That's much better.
Yeah, sure, but like
I don't know.
compared to every other angle, it looks. Let's shit on this a little bit. You can't really read it. It looks like a band name from like the '90s.
Julian and I follow a YouTuber who has a very similar problem with his neon sign. So I don't
We're not even original with our failures, Julian.
I think it's a neon sign. You know, I don't know. I mean, there's no one who's gonna click on this channel without the contextual like tools to figure out what that says. You know,
Fair.
like we don't want you
in
here
a weird
if you
way.
can't figure out what that might say on Chucklehead Productions YouTube channel. Then go fuck yourself. Honestly.
blurry in the same way that the Daft Punk like.
Oh,
logo is,
I
so,
thought
like,
she was about to roast me. Like, Zach, it's as blurry as the rest of the footage. It's fine. I thought she was about to get my ass. I don't know if my face
Just
was on camera.
mediocre
I
curiosity
cringed.
shit.
And then she said Daft Punk, and I was like, oh, thank God. She moved on. She spared me. I do kind of feel like, and maybe this is because I'm looking at the rest of the room, and not to like. It's a nice apartment. The sign seems cooler than like the rest of the set, and it's just probably because it was purchased instead of everything else was like shag rag put together.
I mean, it gives.
I'm turning it off.
It gives a certain level of branding to the set, right? Like all of this stuff, I think looks cool,
Now it's, like,
especially that
dark.
periodic table thing over there. But all this stuff looks really cool. That was such a Levy joke. I gotta fill in for him now that he's not here filming with us anymore. I have to be like compliment to myself. But the rest of the set is like nice. I think it's just not Chucklehead Productions. Honestly, I think it looks better with that than if everything else were like red and black and it looked really sleek and it matched the neon sign. I think that would just make it look
for
dumb.
sure.
then.
Yeah. If everything looks, there is like, okay, I think I talked to you about. What was the context where I brought up we're operating close to the ceiling of an idea rather than like doing a really good job at a low level idea rather than doing a shitty job at a high level idea. I forget what we were specifically talking about, but nonetheless, you do see some shows where like it's almost like the King News set actually, where like there's this they're teetering on the line of having a set that's really professional, but instead it comes off as tacky. Maybe that's a good word. Where like everything, it's like all of their set looks professional, but they don't have the video production skills to give it the same feeling that you'd actually get from like a newsroom. That's
actually, tell me if this is kind of along the same lines. I kind of feel that way when someone wears a black on black suit, like black suit, black shirt, no necktie. I kind of think, yeah, of course that's kind of going to look this baseline level of good because it's like cool, but it doesn't actually demonstrate that you really cared about like your clothes or your fashion or how you dressed yourself up. It just looks cool and you're kind of putting on this like this cool factor without the authenticity. No, it's just me. I just fuck black shirts and black suits. That's what I'm saying. I was so passionate about it. I just had to bring it up.
Zachary has one black T-shirt that he wears all the time. He doesn't know what you're talking about.
I was just.
I think that the set looks really good. It just looks really good for like a podcast set. Like I think that the setting of it looks really nice. It looks like a podcast set. Like with the tables and everything, like it just doesn't look like a traditional YouTube set. I think is what the big thing is. It's like I think it looks very professional and nice. It just looks traditionally more like what I'd see out of a podcast.
Well,
I actually disagree.
I
I think it looks much more like a YouTube thing, whereas the tackiness that I was talking about it looks more like a. God, there's like this benign group of podcasts that like. They have a legit film room and they have a legit like table that you would see from a newscasting table, and everyone has cameras that are filming in 4K.
There is a malignant
and everyone
subsector
has
of those podcasts,
like an arm
though.
with the microphone, and there's granted, I'm not saying the shut has meaning, like, but there's a cheeseburger, a Darth Vader, like there's random shit that makes it like personal.
It's
you know what I mean?
quirky.
Where it's sure.
It's stuff you like.
Sure. But then there's this like segment of podcasts that has like they all have really nice equipment, but there's nothing wrong about it other than the video production quality being low. Like the resolution will be good, obviously.
It's like the
their equipment will be
cozy
good.
factor, you know?
It's like 1984. Like it feels like propaganda. It's not propaganda, but like it feels like you're renting a space. It doesn't feel like a space where fun things happen. It feels like a rented it feels very commercial.
Well, no, that's why I say like cozy. Yeah, though, because it's kind of that like this is like a home or this is a space where we make jokes together. We're coming to hang out. We're not on this like sterilized like 4 podcast microphone set where we like just yell into the microphones about like generic stuff. We yell into the microphones about stuff that's important to us and like cozy,
How did we get to this topic?
I was saying that the set reminds me of podcasts I watch. Maybe
Oh,
it's just
right,
because
right,
I don't
right.
watch the podcasts you're watching, but
I don't watch those. Actually, that's not true. I guess what it really is. I very recently saw sometimes it's because I keep clicking on them, but I get fed videos with like 6 views.
Yeah.
And I'm just fascinated with it, dude. Yeah. And like, here's the thing, right? We don't have a big following, but we get like 30 views. You know what I mean? There's channels out there that get like 2 views per video, and I'm just fascinated by it.
Well, I was thinking about like there are small points of pride that you have to give yourself kind of to continue on without forming an ego over it. But yeah, there are definitely some people who are like trying to do the same kind of thing, or there are people who, like making content. And granted, we haven't seen this viral level of success by any means, but there are people with like half the subscribers and double the videos we have over double the amount of time, and you're like, I almost give those people I almost give you more respect the more videos to subscribers you have, is because it's like, you're really making this because this is like a hobby that makes you happy. And I have nothing but respect for that. You're not making these for your like ambitions on the chance that you'll get like a Mr. Beast level of subscribers. You just like playing the guitar, you like doing covers of songs, and you're just strumming away, publishing those videos for 10 views a pop, for like the last, 7 years. And that's way more respectable to me than someone who's got like an ego about it, like you and I do,
I don't have an ego about it.
Well, not like an ego, but we have
I said I was fascinated about
prescription. I wasn't trying to be so negative. It's just like we have you don't have an ego about any of this. Like I do it. I do it in a security about. Well, I'm not trying to say ego as like a thing that you are totally uncredited for, but just like you feel a confidence that sometimes leads you to putting others down in your head. Maybe. Yeah. No. I'm not saying like a dick. I'm just saying like you'll look at someone else's 60 subscriber YouTube channel and you'll be like, oh, here, and here's the thing why it's not a 120 subscriber YouTube channel like I have.
No, if I look down on someone, it's usually the tacky channels I was talking about because I'm jealous of the amount of money they have, because clearly they have the funds to have a professional space and like nicer cameras and nicer microphones. And yet their video production skills aren't at that same level, and so I don't look down on.
And I only say ego to be like panning ourselves a bit, just be
pan yourself. All I'm saying, pan yourself. Don't pan me in there.
Okay, fine. I get an ego about things. Zach stays religiously humble as he browses YouTube.
I stay religiously insecure. But that's
no.
I mean, that's just. I guess religion can be insecure as well.
No. I just mean in the sense.
Does anyone like the tablecloth? I got it on clearance. It's a Christmas tablecloth.
Wow, it looks
But
exactly like you got it on clearance. No.
And it matches the candles I already had. So
I do like the pineapple.
Were you trying to change topic? Those are pine cones.
Those are
Pine
cones.
cones.
artichokes.
They're whatever you want them to be. So
I like the candles, Megan.
We all see what we want to see.
I like the Rorschach candles you got. Rorschach.
Julian sees a fruit. Lily sees a vegetable.
Rorschach. What do you see in this? I see you getting stabbed, idiot.
they do kind of look like pineapple.
I was gonna ask you.
The pineapple goes the other direction. Unless it was upside down.
I was going to ask you, what are your tips to stop looking at your YouTube analytics? What are your mental health tips to not constantly look at your YouTube analytics every 20 minutes or every single time you remember it?
Yeah, or maybe just not when you're openly driving.
Or sometimes, multiple times every minute, just thinking, well, in terms of how fast viral things work, maybe it was this minute. What are your mental health tips there? Because I find it exceptionally hard not to be fully addicted the way companies want me to my YouTube analytics.
This is actually interesting. Maybe this goes back into the ego versus less of an ego thing because I don't check it. The only
clearly don't check it because if you did,
Julian's like, you don't even know he's like, hey Zach, we need to make sure we check our egos. By the way, how do you make sure not to check your analytics while driving down the highway? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Julian?
Don't you wait for notifications, baby? Doesn't it notify you when something happens?
If someone comments, I check? I check Poo Crafter's comments. That excites me. No, the only analytic I really check is if I go and put stickers up, I check that. But that's that'll show clicks per, and that's not really.
So you actually use it in this intelligent kind of corporate way to improve your business and kind of create data. You don't just check to see if the number 500 has gone up to the number 700 and how fast relative to you that happened, right? So,
what do you mean relative to you?
I guess I am just checking because I'm like, ooh, my view count, it went up 40 in 30 seconds. That means 1.25 viewers per second. I'm just constantly refreshing. It's all just that dopamine, honestly. I'm just super addicted to it. There's no other way to put it. I just get super easily addicted to those little likes. And I was wondering if you felt the same way.
I haven't gone viral today, Lily.
No, that sounds like he was being sarcastic.
I mean,
I could hear Julian saying making fun of himself.
And this is what I'm at today, and I'm like,
was he genuine?
Yeah, because I was literally looking up when are the times to post because those are the best times.
See, this is.
I think it tells you.
So it does.
TikTok,
The worry for me is you said that whole story, and then Zach said, "Was he being genuine?" And you said yes, and that's where I feel our two interpretations of the story really diverge. Now, granted, I'm not saying I would have been disappointed. I'm not saying I didn't want one of my videos to go viral. But when I message you that my 500 view video hasn't gone viral yet, that's not me being as genuine.
No. I meant you showing me as you pulled up to work, showing me the little stat counter and going, but it's not as high as it was yesterday on Friday.
I wasn't showing you. I was ignoring what you were saying to look at it, if that makes it feel better.
Cool.
That was awesome.
You guys set Chucky off. He's screaming now.
Yeah, he thinks he's a domestic.
I wish we could just get a bird camera. Or not a bird camera, a bird microphone. So I wish sometimes we'd say something just, from the background. No?
Just do that sometimes if you want, Julian.
Oh, man. That was so much fun. I'm sorry. I just when I like something, I really like something. I really like that. I just
really like.
If that was a YouTube channel, or if this was a YouTube video, I would rewind and re-listen.
It would have gone viral for Zach.
Yeah, just for Zach. But yeah, the only analytic. Oh, sorry. I have a couple points, but to restate my initial point, the only analytic I really check is if I go up and put stickers in different places. I find that really fascinating. The amount of QR scans I get. But that'll give me, I mostly look at the number of scans over a 48-hour period. So you only really have to check it, once a day at most. And I like comparing that to the weather. It's really interesting. I can watch my analytics go up and down based on how shitty it is outside. Yeah. Because that's the amount of increases the amount of foot traffic.
That's funny to me. Well, really, and I've noticed that too because there were a couple days in towards the end of August, beginning of September, where it's I would notice that it was sunny out and we gained 4 subscribers that day.
It's the sun. It's a bright sunny day. Gotta check my analytics. No, I have to stay inside.
It's making my seasonal depression that much worse because I'm nobody liked my video, and I'm a piece of shit who just stayed in bed today, man.
I think that I do hover over the analytics a lot more for the TARP report when I make their stuff, just because I feel a certain amount of I don't have anything to prove here necessarily.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm taking someone else's thing upon myself, I feel like I need to show my worth. And so I do I do watch those analytics, but I not necessarily I'm not getting really deep into it and seeing what part of the video someone stopped watching and really hovering on it. I just look at how many views it gets. I uploaded one of their videos today. It was about Sam interrupting his wife, and it got so many views, but it was just all misogyny. It was just oh, fucking women. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, this is success for the wrong reason, man. Just a bunch of women haters.
Yeah, no, you just
straight up
you need that Bill Burr to be like, don't woo me. Yeah, no woo. It starts to feel like a rally. Yeah.
Oh man. That was that was Daniel Tosh.
Bill Burr is the one who says
Woo
it
hits
starts to feel like a rally.
Woo hits a certain octave and it feels like a rally. Hate crime in T-10, 9, 8.
Is Bill Burr calling it So I'm thinking Bill Burr, that black and white special that he has on Netflix. He for sure, someone woos at him and he interrupts them. And he says, "Don't woo me." I mean, obviously both of them could have, but he says, "Don't woo." I thought Daniel Tosh said something along the lines of something more related to it being a Klan meeting, and Bill Burr is the one who Bill Burr's the one who said it feels like a rally. I could have sworn, but maybe.
All right. That's about how well that joke should go over. There's a fine line between appreciating the sarcasm and, ooh, this feels like a rally.
We could play the clip.
Yeah, I mean,
I heard you had videos.
I heard you had videos. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Bill Burr does a lot of. I wouldn't say does a lot. Bill Burr does some. I mean, I could be talking. Never mind. I'm going to stay out of that.
Well, what I was going to say, I think for me, the checking the analytics constantly is just because of the YouTube Shorts, which granted has been around for a little bit now, but is the novelty of gaining subscribers from YouTube's algorithm never gets old. That's never happened to me before. So just being starting off with exclusively Shorts to gain even 30 subscribers like I have just from the algorithm feels remarkable.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
It's insane how good that feels, because even though it is the same format as TikTok and I'm getting them kind of in the same high volume way that you would on TikTok, it feels more like I'm getting YouTube subscribers in the year 2012 or something like that. So
I was thinking about that today, and I don't have. Well, I guess I have some. What do you call it? What's the opposite of empirical evidence?
Oh gosh, what's
perceptive evidence?
No, it's called
personal experience, whatever. I don't have any empirical evidence to support this. I just have
qualitative. It's not. That's not the opposite of empirical, but yeah, qualitative.
Okay. But I have a theory that TikTok subscribers and I mean, I guess I won't even necessarily say YouTube Short subscribers, but I assume that you could say similar things to Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok followers. They all kind of work in the same realm. Is that from what I've seen with helping Megan's sister on her account that has between 30 and 40,000 followers, is that you can consistently post and gain, I'm going to make this number up, 10 followers a day, 20 followers a day. And that feels substantial at the very beginning. And you keep climbing. Yeah. You get close to a number like 1,000. You get to 10,000. And
once you get
from
to 10,000...
From what I've seen, that number doesn't feel, and once again, this is just my personal experience, that number doesn't feel like it grows exponentially. It feels like it grows linearly, or linear, is that right? Linearly.
Yep.
And I think that dopamine hit is going to get smaller and smaller. And maybe this is just because of the type of content that she makes, but it doesn't...
No, I agree with that. And that's something I'm trying to
when you
mitigate
gain 20
in myself.
subscribers when you have 30,000, it doesn't feel like you're moving in the canoe.
Yes.
Versus where I think if you can garner the same type of thing on a YouTube account with a much less, would the word be transient audience?
I'm actually not sure.
Whatever. I think you understand what I'm trying to get across. I think that subscriber count will increase more exponentially. At least that's how I've seen other YouTube channels grow.
So that's how I've seen YouTube channels grow. And I think that's exactly, when you say the word exponential, that's exactly what was getting me really excited, because it's like, and granted, and the primary thing is that dopamine hit, that addictiveness is that I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited whenever
There's nothing wrong with that.
subscribe to me. No, for sure. As long as you're like, as long as you don't take it to mean I'm hot shit, I'm the king of the world, I'm going to treat other people like shit. No, there's nothing wrong with feeling good about it. But like, I definitely like, that's the thing that got me really excited, because like, I don't know, like 2 days ago I gained like 4 subscribers, and the next day I gained like 20 subscribers, and I was like, yay! If this follows the same trend, I'll be Mr. Beast by March. It's like super easy to hype yourself up with that type of thing. And yeah, no, I think, so I guess the hope is that things are more exponential on YouTube, because that's always how I've heard it going, right? Is you have one viral video, and one, like the first day of your viral video, you'll get 20 subscribers, and the next day you'll get 150 subscribers. The next day you'll get like 15,000 subscribers, and it'll go up for the next 2 weeks or something like that. So that's definitely what, or not definitely, that's what I presume the success is going to look like. So I have a very easy time like pretending that it's time, you know? Like, it's my time now. It's starting to look pretty exponential, when in reality that's just my brain giving itself another dopamine hit.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if that happens or not. I think if you make longer form videos, you'll start to garner a more permanent audience. Whereas I think that YouTube short audiences are borderline meaningless.
I definitely agree with that, in the sense of like, well, up to a point, but yeah, I agree. Like, an audience of 10,000 who watch your YouTube shorts is not as meaningful as an audience of 10,000 who watches your like long form gaming content or something like that.
Still monetize it.
You can still monetize. Well, there's different
Lunch money.
monetization rules, right?
It's either based off of views or subscribers.
Yeah. Or, well, view time. They do value
I
shorts
think it's
differently.
just views.
It's I was reading it today. It's 1,000 subscribers and like one of the following. So it can.
Is it? I thought it was 500.
What I just read today was 1,000, and then it's 1,000, and then it's one of a couple things. It's either like you have to have 4,000 total watch hours, or 10 million shorts views, or one other thing. I forget what it is. But they do value shorts differently, because they specifically had shorts views in a different category. So, but basically, I think it's like you either have to have 10 million shorts views or 4,000 hours in watch time, where it's easier to get 4,000 hours in watch time unless you post like 6-second shorts every time, in which case it's easier to get 10 million shorts views or something. Yeah.
10 million shorts views, or I don't know if that number is accurate, but that number annually, right?
Total. Before
I think
you
it's
start
annually.
monetizing. Maybe you might be right that it's annually, but I guess it's like, what is it? The odds? Well, I actually don't know the odds that you'd hit it year 1 and not hit it year 2.
I was just trying to spread accurate information.
Yeah, no, I have no clue. Fair enough. Don't listen to us. Like, yeah, I got no clue. It would make sense if it was annually for sure, but I did not check that part. Yeah, but it is definitely one of those things that's really like interesting conceptually, because it's all just like a numbers game and like a crapshoot. Obviously.
What do you mean?
Like,
by being a crapshoot?
not a total. There's a certain amount of getting lucky to it. Like, you obviously have to be like a decent, businessman, and there are certain ways that you can post that are conducive to doing well and growing a channel, and there are certain ways you can post that are non-conducive, but it's like there are luckier ways to start out, I guess. Or, I mean, to say lucky kind of undervalues the creativity you have to put into a viral video to make it go viral, but I think that there are 100,000 prime candidates for funny viral videos sitting on just under 1,000 views right now, and it is a matter of luck as to which one of them is the next viral video.
Maybe.
To an extent. I'd like to see if Mr. Beast could take a 0 subscriber channel up to 1 million subscribers again without mentioning that he was him.
Yeah, I mean, What is kind of interesting on that thought specifically is that Mr. Beast found a really good channel to go up, and that is the channel of giving money away. And now anyone who does that feels tacky and like they're just copying him.
Yeah.
And so that is a very good point. He has talked about mentoring other YouTubers and increasing their views substantially based off of, better video ideas, thumbnails, and YouTube titles, or in just faster paced editing, right, in general. But it would be interesting to... I mean, he could almost certainly get it to the point where it was substantial. I don't think he could get it up to his same level, simply because I do think anyone that follows that same content path is viewed as just copying him.
I guess the question for me is, could Mr. Beast take our channel with his up to a channel that could support 4 total people's
For sure,
lives?
he could create a whole nother company.
Yeah,
that is undoubtable. I think it's silly to even consider that he wouldn't be able to do that.
I think it's not so much considering that he wouldn't be able to, because I agree with it. Like, I think a lot of that stuff is business based, right? Like, it's the stuff of like, oh, I'm not going to dedicate, $100,000 to having some graphic designer create a thumbnail. I'm going to use like almost identical thumbnails because my content is the same regardless. And maybe that's a silly point because it's not like anyone's using old cinema movie poster level production value like thumbnails, But it's just like, I feel like the things that make him successful are the more business end of things, where it is like the things that make him really successful are like him doing Mr. Beast en Espanol. I think that's like one of the smartest business maneuvers that he's done. That's something I'm trying to do a little for myself, is try to make a little more silent content whenever I can, because silent content can be consumed by anybody. I know it's silly. What do you want to say? Share your little smirk with the crowd.
No, I mean it's just laughing at someone trying. That's all. There's nothing really behind it. I think your entire first point was incorrect. I believe he's specifically spoken before about spending ridiculous amount of sums on thumbnails specifically. I'm gonna fuck up the number, but he'll throw out some ridiculous number and say he spends $10,000 on making a thumbnail.
I guess the only reason that comes to my mind is because the thumbnails are okay. Fair. I'll restate my point to say he's not innovating when it comes to thumbnails, or maybe he was.
He's the most innovating when it comes to thumbnails. Are you shitting me?
They all look the same.
Who copies? Okay.
So
can
yes,
you name
yes. I take your point that everyone copies Mr. Beast's thumbnails.
Christ, you needed to shut that down fast. Holy fuck.
I take the point that that everyone copies his thumbnails because they have become the standard.
And no one else copies
is it an incorrect point?
Thumbnails? Who else has a thumbnail?
You're disagreeing with me in a portion of my speech where I'm agreeing with you actively. I'm agreeing with you to say you're right, or what I took your interrupting my initial point to be is no. Mr. Beast innovates a lot when it comes to thumbnails. Mr. Beast is the creator of the most used thumbnail format on YouTube. Is that somewhat correct? That everyone tries to emulate Mr. Beast thumbnails from 5 years ago. Is that somewhat correct?
Or from right now.
Everyone's trying to look like his thumbnails. When I say he is not being an innovator on it, I mean in the sense he's not trying anything new for the sake of trying anything new. He's saying it ain't broke, so don't fix it. His thumbnail, his beginning of 2024 thumbnail is incredibly similar to his beginning of 2023 thumbnail. And that's because he thinks if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to innovate in other places. True or false?
Sure. What's your point?
That's what I mean when I say he's not innovating thumbnails, is that he's not spending a bunch of resources thinking of new ones because he says if it ain't broke, don't fix it. A point that you initially disagreed with. So that's what I'm saying.
No, he does spend a lot of money making thumbnails. Maybe he's not.
I put it in terms of money,
style.
and I retracted that point to say it's not that he's not spending a lot of money. It's that he's not investing a lot of cash into thinking of new ideas. He is making a high quality thumbnail for his 300 million view video.
Okay, so you think that a lot of his success isn't from spending a lot of cash.
I'm saying a lot of his
innovate
success is
thumbnails?
from
That's your
he has a
point?
very CEO mind brain where he can like cut the fat from things.
Okay.
Is what I was initially saying by that.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Continue.
Continue.
Yeah, you had a point. You were talking to Lily. I interrupted you.
No, we don't need to. We treaded on that enough, dog. It's all good. You brought up your necklace before we started filming.
I wanted to say, what did you think of it? It looks like
Lord of the Rings.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Sick, dog.
That wasn't because I had like
No,
I didn't have a
okay.
fucking like punchline for that or anything.
I thought about.
I thought you'd be able to like do some like roast me tags. Like I look like Samwise doing this or that.
I was calling you Walder Frey before you got here. Anyone get that reference? Lily? Lily got it. Do you
No,
get
she
it?
totally doesn't. Why am I
Oh, she
Walder
doesn't?
Frey? Yeah.
She smiled and nodded.
Because
heard
she's
the name.
she's nice.
Oh,
The name.
Lily, what's Walder
That's
Frey
it?
from?
don't humor me.
From Lord of the Rings.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. So
Why'd you do that to me,
I
Lily?
heard the name and I was trying to be fucking
You
nice and enjoy
motherfucker.
pointing it out.
Zach,
What, you
deliver
think
your whole.
it's nice? You
I'm
think
not
it's
filming
nice?
anymore if I'm just gonna be bullied the whole
You
time.
think you're bullying me? What the fuck?
No, I
It's
was being
nice.
nice. He was bullying you via me.
Oh my god.
So what? Deliver
led
your
me here.
your
We're in this shit
side
together.
splitting Walder Frey joke,
Motherfucker.
Zach.
You already. We're all doing. I'm doing this for negative. Okay. You know how deep in the hole I am. I appreciate you being here, but the money thing is rough. All right.
So Walder Frey because I'm borderline incestuous towards my own family. Why Walder Frey?
Oh, because he was because they call him the late great Walder Frey because he was late to the battle of the Trident and got there after the
Okay.
fight.
No, I
and
got
that's
you.
why
Okay,
that's
no,
why everyone is a dick to him. The late great Walder Frey. Not from Lord of the Rings.
Cool, I got it was from Game of Thrones.
Oh, you did?
I did just now when you're talking about battles and shit. I
Oh,
don't care
okay.
about knights and
But they don't laugh at your jokes, Zach. They laugh at the Lannisters.
You only laugh. You only laugh when you don't get it, which is fucked up and confusing. Oh man,
I'm trying to follow your
you
Game
do
of
look like a
Thrones
Lannister.
Yeah, I can't help it. Okay.
I'm not gonna go deeper into that. It's okay.
I look like the tall one if he also had the proportions of the short one. Okay, I get it.
Peter Dinklage is. I have a feeling he's yoked. We've already treaded this Peter Dinklage path. Lily wasn't here for it. We already talked about the Dinkle.
Yeah. No. The Dinkle. I like the Dinkle.
The Dinkle. Dude, this is trash.
Well, I was gonna say, Zach, to like compensate for the alpha maleness of you wearing that baseball hat on your head backwards, can I please just be painting my nails the whole show to like
I just need a
say that we
haircut.
don't take one particular perspective more seriously than the others? Because
I always make the joke
think it's
that I
masculine to have
was
long hair?
that guy when I first started dating him.
it's interesting.
I don't wear a hat on a daily
Wear
basis.
hats all the time.
When I go to work to keep it out of my face. So I work in the fields.
Yes, dear.
Am I wrong?
No,
You're gonna sit there and tell me I'm wrong? Yeah, motherfucker, because I work all the time. That's how it works,
We
okay?
wear hats on our dates sometimes.
If I have it, okay, if my hair is fucked up, I wear a hat, yes.
Yeah, and I'm just saying,
But I
So
don't
you wear
like.
them on your dates all the time. Ooh.
What was your point? What would you say, Megan?
it's just a joke. I didn't know that you were a hat guy when I first started dating you. I had no idea.
So this is a recent development. I started watching Pokemon and I wanted to fucking catch them all, dude. No, I just.
Well, Zach,
I just,
you gotta turn your hat around like back, like you're ready for a Pokemon showdown. You know?
No, you know what I do when I wear my hat forward? It's because I'm right-handed, but I regularly, accidentally, like have it off to the side like a trucker, just because I fix it and I'm right-handed, so I like fuck it up, and so I look silly. But I think when I have long hair and I wear a hat forward, I think I look like a fucking trucker.
Well, that is a trucker hat, so
I just what makes it a trucker hat?
the fabric in the front and the mesh in the back.
fabric. And you talking about this?
Yeah.
I think this is just for hot weather, so you don't
Well, like a
sweat
baseball
and
hat
get
is traditionally
pimples.
fully cotton, and a trucker hat is fabric in the front.
Are those the only two kind of hats?
For those brimmed hats like that are shaped like a baseball hat, yes.
So there's only trucker hats and baseball hats. So if it's
They're
not a
shaped
baseball
like
hat,
that.
it's a trucker hat.
When there's fabric on the front like that.
Well, I
and
bet there's a
mesh
bunch
back,
of ways to
then
classify, because there's also different,
They're
like,
usually labeled as trucker.
It
there's
does
like,
kind of look like a trucker.
well, there's also like
Well, what I mean, I could.
snapbacks.
Oh yeah, because of my long hair.
Snapbacks versus non-snapbacks. There's also like that versus like a dad hat. I forget what you call the, like, you know, the dad baseball hats that are kind of flatter on top and adhere to your head more, and then there's the baseball hats that that are a little bigger on top and a little more of a dome.
I think
Kinda sits on
Julian
your
sounds
head
like the
more.
fucking hat guy.
The longer
What?
bill is for fishing.
The longer bill is for hilarious videos.
For fishing, so
Is it really? You look like a duck bill.
I was trying to think
Wait,
of
are
it.
you s-
I was trying my very hardest to think of a put it on my bill joke, but I couldn't.
for the sun when you're fishing. You go fishing and you wear it. It's like really long.
That and those like original like bucket hats, like the fisherman caps.
Oh, I do fuck with bucket hats.
You know they sell
look at it.
fish at Whole Foods, guys. You don't need to go catch it yourself.
We got my dad a fishing pole.
Homeless? Why don't you just buy a house? Dumbass.
That's why I said Whole Foods, actually.
Oh, yeah.
You can buy fish anywhere, but
It's very Lannister of you. Just your fucking gold.
I forget the what's this? The Reigns of Castomere? Is that it? I forget the lyrics to it, but I would have started.
I'm not gonna remember the fucking lyrics.
You're not gonna
to
remember the
Lannister
Reigns of
song.
Castomere, you fucking loser.
I know the story behind it.
I
don't
know
remember the lyrics.
Well, I know you know the story, but that's like an aspirational story for you, dog.
Why? To kill people?
No, like to outsmart someone in that sort of
He didn't
way. To be
outsmart
like that
him. He just
tricky
fucked
sort of
him up.
Well, he fucked him up, but you know, in the Lannister way, which is deceptive, I guess.
How is he deceptive?
Didn't in the Reigns of Castomere, I didn't think it was just
Nerd
like
off. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I didn't think it was just like a battle between two forces. I thought it was like whoever the Lannister was who convinced the old leader of Casterly Rock to leave. I thought there was some sort of convincing element to it that made it especially Lannistery.
That was tricky. The Castomere thing is completely irrelevant to that.
Okay.
Castomere is. No one gives a fuck. I'm gonna do this though, because Megan knows. I watch a lot.
Well, no, we'll talk about
I
it.
watch a lot of Game of Thrones.
You just
lore.
gotta hashtag it Game of Thrones.
Think
there are
deep.
a million people who want to talk about
Shout out
this
to
act.
Think Deep Geek, my boy. That dude's a fucking nerd. Oh my god, I
love those nerds. No, seriously,
that
like
fucking guy.
Think
Holy
Deep
shit.
Geek is what you say. Because I'd honestly watch that. I love those people because this isn't quite the content that I'm super passionate about making. People who are willing to go in and tell me every little detail about the lore, I fucking love you. And I love watching your videos.
I usually watch 3-hour videos about like all of the people that were like that cameoed in Scooby-Doo and stuff like that.
Yeah, Lily's not into like
Compilation.
world building as much as she are. She's like the real life lore around like what happened to make this straight to DVD Disney movie a thing. Blech.
We'll get back to Reigns of Castamere, but you know, you saying the real world building thing. That
Oh, now
think
you
about?
can't make fun of me for stuttering now.
I stutter way more than you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for sure. And honestly,
I'm
don't
gonna
think
look for that
I don't
now.
think it's genetic.
So
I
do
think
you make fun of me for that? Because it's something you notice in me and it's something you've been self-critical of?
No, it's because I edit videos and
And you-
it's funny.
Yeah,
when
I heard
do
you
it.
edit videos.
Just remember in the no one's gonna fuck it. This is
No,
dumb.
no one's certainly gonna remember. But I
The
remember
Monopoly
you
video,
making fun of-
just, and I edited like the bigger and bigger words where you just do it.
Yeah.
I don't. I swear it's one of those things where like I listen to British people talk for too long and then I start like thinking that way. I think it is entirely like a weird mimicking that I do of maybe it's from you, honestly. It could be. I do mimic people a lot.
Well, so
and I'm very impressionable. Like opinions, but like things like little what? Affects. It's insane how much I mimic other people.
It's insane how much I
demoralizing.
affect No, okay, never mind. But like, I was gonna say, so when you bring up like the British people thing, like the kind of, this is something that, and shout out to our boy in LA, but this is something that Levy does that's a bit of a pet peeve of mine sometimes, where I don't know if you've ever heard him say it, he uses the word bloody a lot. Like, so he'll be like, oh, I was watching this YouTube video and I thought it was bloody brilliant. And I was like, shut the fuck up, Ron Weasley. Like, it's such a pet peeve of mine, because even though I totally believe him, he's like, I just talk like that because I've incorporated into my vocabulary. I totally believe that. But it still just pushes me to the very edge because I'm like, fuck you, you don't talk. Like, you had to make an effort to change the way you talked at some point to be like increasingly British, and I hate that. And number two, I thought of this, but it just made me sound like a douche, so I wasn't gonna say it. But no, I've totally...
You don't have to, you still don't. We can I have like 3 topics in my head ready to go. You don't have to look like a douche. Fuck it, go for it. Usually I'm the douche.
No, I was just totally thinking how there are some times where I'll say a word and I'll see you put that word into your vocabulary a couple weeks later, and I think back to a time...
You see a word? Or you say a word?
I say a word.
Oh, there you go.
And I can't think of any specific examples right now, so maybe it's all... Maybe I'm tricking myself.
I like picking up good words.
And picking up...
I was going to say I
do the exact same thing. If I learn a new word...
Subversive? I like that word a lot. Someone called me subversive, and I was like, ooh, let me Google that real quick.
Google that. Put it back in. But I'll do the exact same thing where I'll learn a new word and I'll put it into my vocabulary for like a week or two until I've memorized it, and then it's kind of in the back of my head for the right situation. But I actually remember a thing that, my brother was, he had like a speech therapist from ages like 4 until 7 or something, right? Like just a little slower to talk. And I remember his speech therapist saying to me that I was such a good talker and that she noticed that I must always be talking to him because he picked up so many words from me, in their sessions. Like, he'd come and he'd say a word and she'd be like, where must we have even learned that? And apparently it was from me or something. And I remember that speech therapist saying that to me as a little kid, and I thought that was really nice. And that's kind of what I think of whenever I say a word and I hear you incorporate it into your vocabulary. I'm like, aw. Like, I help. I'm such a good older brother like that. It brings me right back to that scenario.
My turn to talk. Have you noticed him using the word Delta recently? Any? No? I'll put the clip in. Just because it... Yeah, no, sorry. I don't even know what episode it was. I used the word Delta for something, and Julian was like...
context of Delta off. Like, yeah, I'm going to take another
Delta
junction
from
here.
This,
another junction.
Delta off.
And
Julian was taken aback by my vocabulary the one time. Oh, that was good.
Delta off?
Fuck me.
Nice.
One of the topics I had in my head is that I didn't really make this observation until just now, but if you were to look at my YouTube watch feed, you'd probably get a kick out of it going back and forth between Game of Thrones world building and then geopolitics, and just I find a lot of humor in ooh, let's figure out what's past Essos, and then also what's going on with Taiwan. It's I want to know what's going on away from me that is real and complete bullshit. At the same time, I want all of it. Tell me what is happening in the Middle East, and also what is up with the Summer Isles, dog? What are they doing down there?
What's west of Westeros?
Probably.
Nobody knows.
Well, it's a circle, motherfucker. So
Well,
eventually,
nobody knows,
except for this lady who
except for the Indians,
from
we'll
not
call them
Bear
that
Island, from a different island, who had a lesbo relationship with one of the dragon lords, of which
you can't shorten it to lesbo when you're wearing that hat like that, man.
Lesbos. This is a Seattle artist, so Liz, okay? Tilt the hat to you. She stole 3 dragons from that motherfucker, went over to Bravos, sold them, bought a ship, then sailed past Westeros. Those 3 eggs eventually, theoretically, not for sure, becoming the 3 eggs that Dany gets. And so Dany's story might not have been able to happen unless that one crazy lesbian stole 3 eggs from the Targaryens, sold them in Essos, and then just went across the sea
so we're just bullshitting
Columbus.
here. We're
I think she bought 3 ships, and only 1 made it back.
I don't know why you're looking at me.
So
Back to the reigns of Castomere.
I've got two observations. Number one, let's talk about the last season of Game of Thrones for like the last few minutes of this show, because I think we can. I bet we could muster some strong opinions.
First?
Yes. And the second thing is, tell me about the reigns of Castomere first.
Okay, the reigns of Castomere is from a period of time when Tywin Lannister was, I'm gonna say, in his 20s. And he didn't like the way that his father was treated by all of his, I don't know if you'd call it liege lords. Are liege lords the like lords that are underneath you? Is that what a liege lord is? Or is the liege lord the guy that's in charge of those
I'll hear
lords?
people say my liege in a context of your liege is
you know,
someone who
I think
operates
you're right.
above you.
I think you're right. So it's probably inaccurate. So it wouldn't have been his liege lord. It would have been
maybe
his
it's
whatever
your
the fuck the
liege
opposite
lord
of that
if
is.
you are also a lord and they're your liege lord.
Exactly,
as where
that's
if you
exactly
aren't
what
a
I'm
lord,
saying.
they're your liege or something.
Exactly, where he's the
Bannerman?
his bannerman, but there's a different word for it, but whatever.
Bannermen
yeah,
are like
bannerman.
below you. And,
But they are lords. He didn't like the way that his father was treated by all of his bannermen, because he would like loan them out money and they would never pay it back, right? And then he'd ask for the money back and they would just laugh in his face. And so Tywin Lannister came back from his stint. He spent like 10 years or some shit like that. I'm totally pulling that number out of my ass, working at the courts inside of King's Landing. And then he went back to the Westerlands, and his father was straight up just total pushover, like doesn't like actually enforce anything. And Tywin really didn't like that. He didn't like, being laughed at or anything like that. That's why he's like so serious and why he's always like, you're a Lannister, right? You're gonna impregnate.
You don't fuck each other. You're a Lannister.
You're gonna impregnate the Stark girl. But your family first. By the way, she was like 14 in that, pretty fucked, or probably less than that. But either way, and like Tyrion was like 34. Fucking wild, dude.
Couldn't you
The shit.
totally see me looking at my own reflection in the mirror? Like, you're a Lannister. No, okay, keep going.
Fuck?
I was trying to make a joke.
Oh, about you. Okay.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna speed up. I'm saying way too many details. Tywin Lannister came back. He put out a call for everyone to pay back their debts to Casterly Rock. The Lords of Castomere told, I don't know if they said no or laughed or whatever, but they didn't pay back the debt. And so Tywin went to go fuck him up. He went to fuck up everyone who didn't pay back his father.
Was the Clegane household in the picture at this point? The Clegane? Maybe I'm diverting this story too much, but I'm curious if that alliance starts somewhere near the reigns of Castomere.
I'm going to say that it happened beforehand, because I don't know who Clegane's founder saved, but the House Clegane came from like some Lannister lord. I think they saved the Lannister lord, and I don't know if it was from like their banner is like a dog, like a bulldog or something, not a bulldog, but some type of like scary dog, and they either saved the Lannister lord from a hound, or they used a hound. Maybe they were like the hound master and they somehow saved the Lannister lord. But it was something like that, where like it was kind of like Sir Davos-y, where they like that homeboy just did something good for a Lannister and they're like, boom, you're a lord.
I know my homeboy's goal is to start House Blackwater. Am I right? Is that not your favorite character? That's what I get. Bronn of the Blackwater. Is that your
Bronn
favorite?
is a very, very fun character.
I would have thought that Bronn was.
Oh,
Bronn
we're
is
gonna
the
talk about-
Zachary.
Oh my
Whitson
God!
of
I was
that
talking to
universe
Megan about this.
me.
Wait, how much time do we have?
Finish your story.
I'm just saying, if I needed someone to execute on my behalf in like a sneaky way, I'd pick you. So
No, I am too fat. But nonetheless, so Tywin Lannister went to the Castomeres, and the Castomeres had like, I'm gonna fuck this number up again. I'm good with like stories and not all the little details, but like 90% of their castle was all underground.
Yeah.
And so they went up to not attack. There's like a siege. They went to siege the castle, and the Lords of Castomere just went into their tunnels or into their underground part of their castle and just held up, and they're like, "Okay, we're safe." And rather than going down there and killing all the Lords of Castomere, Tywin just walled up every single entrance to the underground portion of the castle and then rerouted a river to flood them out and just drowned everyone inside the castle.
Yeah.
And then rather than giving the castles of the people that didn't pay back his father to like a family that was loyal, they like took down castle brick by brick and just wiped the castle off the map. And so they used that song as like an eerie threat of like, hey, remember what I did to the last motherfucker that didn't listen to me?
Yeah, it's like your whole generational legacy, which is everything to you guys, is going to be wiped out if you don't listen to me.
Exactly. And so the Reigns of Castomere, the song is like a vague threat to anyone.
Was it
That's
Rain,
it.
like R-A-I-N?
I don't think so. I think once again, this is like a little detail thing. I think their last name was Castomere. Castomere?
Yeah.
Castomere.
I think.
And I think that the castle was maybe the castle was named Castomere. I'm fucking that up.
I
Reigns
like
of Castomere.
Castlemere.
I don't know. I'm fucking it up. What was your question? I went so off track.
What kind of rain it was.
I can't imagine it's R-A-I-N. I think it's rain as in raining over something. But yeah.
As in ruling over. No, I'm sorry. I was just thinking because the raining over something, I got what you meant. Clouds also rain over things, but I forget the follow-up question I was gonna. Oh, right, that was it. So, Reigns of Castomere. I think we're pretty much at the end, but for the sound bites, what was your thoughts on season 8? So season 8 is obviously a famously disappointing season of television for Game of Thrones fans. I watched it. I watched it after having waited several years to watch it. So that's my perspective on it is with that. What's your perspective on season 8? Did it disappoint you in the same way that the mass audiences say it disappointed them, or more or less?
No, not at all. That's actually exact. Maybe I've already talked to you about this, but
I don't think you have.
That's the exact reason why I think it didn't bother me as much, is because people spent like a decade watching this show, and so they had time to like process every single decision that every single character was making and like build like a personal, what's the word? Not
like a headcanon kind of, or like
when someone thinks they're friends with a YouTuber.
Forming a connection.
Forming a connection, there's another word. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Like they had more time to process every decision and like build these like images of these characters. Whereas like I watched that shit just da 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 da.
Maybe identify with the characters.
No, I almost just said subversive. That's fucking hilarious. I keep wanting to say symbiotic. This is dumb. I'm not gonna sit here and try to remember the word. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Whereas I just went through and watched all the episodes all at once, and so it didn't really affect me that much. Having listened to a lot of Game of Thrones lore, it does like it's like they've kind of ruined it for me a little bit, but I'm still able to watch it and enjoy it.
You've kind of been tainted by maybe the negative opinions of the fan
others,
base at large.
Exactly. But no, personally, I thought it was great when I first watched it.
So you thought, I guess, so what I was going to say is, for me, my main critique isn't necessarily how it ended. Like, it could have been the same way. It just, like, it needed more time, in my opinion. Like, why not make an 8th and a 9th season? Like, are you so sick of doing this, Rousseau Brothers?
I think that was the reason. It wasn't like the drama that they got a contract to go make one of the Star Wars movies, and so they wanted to wrap that shit up so they could go make a Star Wars movie. I thought that was the drama behind it.
That's true, yeah.
They didn't make any of the Star Wars movies. That's unless they made like Rogue. They didn't make Rogue One.
I think it was one with Rey.
No, they didn't make what's his name? So Rian Johnson is 8, and then 7 and 9 are J.J. Abrams. So they didn't make any of those. Oh no, they did The Avenger. They did episode.
Oh, it was The Avengers.
They did
That's what
Infinity
it was.
Wars. Now
That's
I
what
don't
it
actually.
was.
So here's the big question that I'm missing. Was it the Rousseau brothers who did the last season of Game of Thrones, or was it another brother duo?
I couldn't fucking tell you, dude. I don't know who any of the. I know who the writer is. That's it, dog.
But regardless, that's my main critique. Is like I actually like kind of how they did what they did with Daenerys. Like I think the moral of when you think you know right and execute on it, it can be a very insidious feeling, that feeling of knowing that you're right. But at the same time, it happens so
right?
quickly. What'd you say?
Of knowing or thinking that you're right.
Of knowing or thinking, either way, certainty that you are right.
Okay.
And I liked that theme in general because you can kind of go back and be like, oh, Daenerys did act in a way that doesn't look as extreme on people who have been shown by the director and the film to be bad people, but reflects differently on people who have been maybe shown to be more innocent civilians or something like that, you know? It's kind of like, it's an interesting point, like, you know, if Daenerys Targaryen came over to America and found out what, like, Americans had historically done to the Native Americans, how would she react? And would we, as, you know, Americans kind of living off of that benefit, feel the way she was reacting was appropriate?
How does that relate to Game of Thrones?
I guess just in the sense she's avenging a group of people who have been mistreated in a way that we would all agree they've been
Westeros?
mistreated.
Or you're talking about in Marine?
I'm saying historically, Daenerys, throughout the first 7 seasons of the show, lived to kind of do right by people who had been done wrong by, like slaves and like the women of the Dothraki women and stuff like that. Like righting people who had been historically wronged. And then once she gets to Westeros, she still thinks she has that power of the right, except she's like, obviously using it to persecute people, right?
Okay, I mean, I guess.
I guess
can
basically
see
what I'm
where
saying
you're
is
coming
I
from,
like
sure.
the turn of thought. I just feel like it needed more time for her to maybe, like, it was so rushed. Like, what is it? She executes the Tarly man and, or one of them's a boy, but she executes the Tarly man and boy. And she, like, that's kind of the only, and then she executes the spider. What's it? Viserys? Viserys. She executes Viserys too. And by that point, we kind of, you know, it really tips the hand pretty strongly when she executes Viserys. But in general, Viserys.
I was just trying to be funny. That's all. You're fine, Doug.
What is it? But it feels like we should have seen more. Like, there should have been an episode or two that was a gray area, I guess. That was more of a gray area. Because I'm not really shocked to see a lord execute 2 people on Game of Thrones. Honestly, like, people like, oh, that's so it's horrible. She executed them by fire. It's like, they were on the ground in a second. Like, that's pretty good compared to most of these deaths in this show. Like, I wish they'd had more time to ramp up her feeling so self-righteous that she was able to, like, nuke an entire city, essentially. Because that just kind of looked like a very shallow critique of people who think that they're in the right instead of actually explaining what things put you in the wrong.
Yeah, I don't think I can give a very intelligent answer about how they should or shouldn't have driven Daenerys' character. I will say on a larger point that is not completely separate from what you were saying, one thing that I constantly think about while watching Game of Thrones that does irk me a little bit is the thought that any of the lords are good or bad people. I feel like if you really think about a king or a lord in general, it's always a bad person. Every single lord, every Stark has always been bad. It doesn't matter if you're a nice ruler. You're still
I agree. Even Jon Snow is gonna be like, oh, peasants. Yeah, thousands of them die every winter. Yeah, fuck them. You know, you can't do anything about that. Like, even like the
Scottish
best
accent.
guy in the whole show still only exists the way they do because of an elitism that we disagree with.
Yeah. And they do kind of display that at the very end, like, except for Samwell Tarly, right? He's the one genuinely good guy there.
Samwell Tarly is, well, yeah, he is more of...
He's like, hey, democracy? And then everyone else is right? And I was really even thinking about that, even with a character like Sir Davos that is
that was
like...
a wild, and that actually pisses me off. They tried to throw a little Marvel joke in that scene where they explain how they're going to structure the whole winner of the game. Never mind, sorry. Sir Davos, yes.
Oh, I was just going to say, I would say that like Samwell and Sir Davos are the 2 people that are viewed as what my initial thought as like really good people. And I even thought about like someone like Sir Davos, who's... I mean, I know he feels very indebted to
Stannis.
Fucking Stannis Baratheon, but he's still just enabling another war-hungry, power-hungry, self-righteous.
To be fair, he's not indebted to Stannis once he sees what that corruption has done to him.
Well, at that point, he's dead.
At that point, Stannis is already dead, and he doesn't get to have that confrontation. But he's certainly removed. He certainly thinks Jon Snow was meant to be the one true king at that point.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting interaction to see. to see how Sir Davos would have interacted with Stannis Baratheon after he found out that he had sacrificed his daughter.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been an interesting conversation. But we can end this here. I did want to talk about, and maybe we'll talk about this in the next episode, although we wanted to play a game or something. But what would be really fun is I had this conversation with Megan. I was trying to think of, and this is super fucking nerdy, but I was thinking about, like, what would, like, my house banner be? Yeah. And I was, like, thinking about it. And that's, like, a really fun, for me personally, it was a lot of fun to, like, brainstorm. You can laugh all you fucking want. Do you get that joke, Lily? Do you get that joke? No, you're just laughing at me because you're mean. It's mean. Oh, she got me.
Don't stop, we go straight to the top. Don't stop, we go straight to the top. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that dude. I am that. Don't stop, we go straight to the top. Don't stop, we go straight to the top. And we all going together.